I never knew this day would come. I was a child raised in a biblical way, the ways of Christ, but I chose alcohol, drugs, and weed. I caused the death of my own mother. My father disowned me until today my heart is full of regrets. I was Cleopatra Heritage, the pride of my family, the golden girl of Maryland. But that was before I chose the wrong road, and lost everything. Hi and welcome back to Hearts Awakened. If you're new here, kindly subscribe and hit on notifications, and for my returning subscribers, thank you for stopping by. We shall begin now. My name is Cleopatra, but everyone used to call me Cleo. I was born into a rich, beautiful Christian home in Maryland. My father, Mr. Heritage, was a respected businessman, and my mother, Mrs. Heritage, was the heart of our home, soft-spoken, prayerful, and kind. They didn't just believe in God, they lived for Him. Our house felt like a small church. We prayed together every morning and read the Bible every night. My childhood was full of peace, laughter, and light. I wore the best clothes, went to the best private school, and had parents who truly loved me. Sometimes I would sit in my mom's lap and ask her if I could live with her forever. She would smile and say, "Only if you stay close to Jesus." I promised I would. I meant it, at the time. Everything began to change when I got into high school. A new environment. New faces. New voices. That's where I met Kayla, Marcus, and Devin. They were funny, loud, and wild, the complete opposite of my sheltered life. They smoked in secret corners of the schoolyard and laughed like nothing in the world could hurt them. I was curious. And then I was drawn in. The first time I smoked weed, I coughed so hard I nearly passed out. But they clapped and cheered for me like I had just won a trophy. It made me feel special. Alive. Free. Soon, I was drinking at parties, skipping church, and lying to my parents. I stopped coming home regularly. I told them I was studying, but I was out dancing, smoking, and slowly drifting deeper into darkness. My grades dropped. My respect dropped. My soul felt cold, but I ignored it. Every time my mom called, I would let it ring. Every time my dad texted, I replied with one-word lies. I didn't know it, but my mom cried for me every night. My father fasted for me, prayed for me, and even paid a private counselor to try and reach me. But I didn't care. I was too far gone. I thought I was living. I didn't realize I was dying slowly. Then came the day my parents decided to visit the school. They had called and called with no answer. So they came to find their only child, hoping to understand what had gone so wrong. I'll never forget the moment they walked in. It was a Friday afternoon. I was sitting in the school parking lot, half drunk with a joint in my hand, laughing at a joke Devin told. I didn't notice the black SUV at first. But when I looked up and saw my mother's horrified face through the window, something inside me cracked. My father stepped out, silent, his eyes filled with something I couldn't read: disappointment, betrayal, heartbreak. My mother opened the door but collapsed before her foot touched the ground. Right there. In front of my friends. Everything stopped. People screamed. I dropped the joint. I ran to her, shaking her shoulders. "Mom. Mom, please." She didn't answer. An ambulance came. I was taken to the principal's office. My father didn't say a word to me. Not one. He sat beside my mother, holding her hand, while I stood useless, stinking of alcohol and weed. She was paralyzed. The shock had hit her like lightning. The doctors tried. They gave her injections, therapy, everything. But her body gave up. Her heart followed not long after. The woman who once held my hand and prayed for me every night was gone. I still remember the smell of the hospital room. Antiseptic, metal, and something else I can't name. Something cold. Something final. My mother lay on the bed with machines humming around her. Tubes ran in and out of her body. Her eyes were open, but she couldn't move. I stood there like a stranger, holding back tears I didn't know how to cry. My father never looked at me. Not once. He just sat there, stroking her hand gently and whispering prayers through trembling lips. When she saw me, a tear slid down her cheek. She couldn't speak, but I knew what she wanted to say. I could almost hear it. Cleo, come back to Jesus. Please. But it was too late. I had broken her heart, and now her body had broken too. The doctors said she had suffered a stroke from the shock. The damage was too deep. They did their best. But within a week, my mother, my angel, my compass, my home, closed her eyes for the last time. I was in the hallway when the nurse told us. My father didn't say a word. He just got up, walked into her room, kissed her forehead, and walked past me like I didn't exist. That was the day everything died. My heart cracked wide open. I sobbed like a child. I begged my dad to talk to me, to forgive me. Daddy, I'm sorry. Please. Please. I didn't mean to. He looked at me with eyes full of pain and said just 4 words. 4 words that haunt me to this day. You killed your mother. He didn't shout. He didn't curse. But that sentence hit harder than any slap. He walked away and didn't look back. That was the last time I saw the man who once carried me on his shoulders and told me I was his princess. After the funeral, everything changed. My father stopped paying my school fees. I was called to the principal's office and told I had been withdrawn. Just like that. No home. No school. No future. I tried to stay with some friends for a while, but nobody wants a broken, grieving addict in their house. Kayla stopped answering my calls. Marcus disappeared. Devin? He was arrested a few weeks later for drug possession. I was alone. I packed what little I had and moved into a rundown apartment with some junkies I barely knew. They welcomed me with open arms, as long as I could bring something to the table. I started selling small bags of weed and pills just to survive. Some nights I didn't eat. Some nights I didn't sleep. Most nights, I wished I didn't wake up. The worst part wasn't the hunger or the cold. It was the silence. My mother's voice used to fill every corner of my life. Now I couldn't even remember what her laugh sounded like. My father, once my rock, treated me like a ghost. I tried writing him a letter. A long one. I poured out my guilt, my pain, my shame. I begged for forgiveness. I swore I would change. I even included a Bible verse she used to quote, "Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow." I never got a reply. Eventually, I stopped trying. I stopped praying. I stopped hoping. One night, high and dizzy, I walked into the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror. My face was thin, pale. My eyes were sunken. My skin looked like it didn't belong to me. Who was this girl? Where was Cleopatra, the daughter of the Heritages? I broke the mirror that night. Smashed it with my fist until blood ran down my arm. I wanted to feel something. Anything. But all I felt was regret. I started roaming the streets of Baltimore, sleeping in bus stops and alleys. I would watch other girls walk past in school uniforms, clean and full of life, and I'd wonder if they knew how lucky they were. One day, I walked past a church. I heard the choir singing a hymn my mom used to love. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. I froze. Tears filled my eyes, and I stood outside like a ghost looking in on a world I used to belong to. I wanted to run inside. I wanted to scream, "Help me. Save me. Take me back." But I didn't. I was too ashamed. That night, I wrote a prayer in a notebook I found in the trash. God, if you're still there, I'm sorry. I didn't listen. I thought I knew better. I lost everything you gave me, my family, my home, my name. If you can hear me, please, don't let this be the end. I tore the page and kept it in my pocket. It was the last piece of hope I had. I was 19 when I hit rock bottom. Winter came early that year. The streets of Baltimore were colder than I'd ever known. I slept under bridges, in abandoned buildings, in cardboard boxes soaked with rain. The cold didn't just numb my skin, it froze every dream I ever had. I begged for change on sidewalks where I used to shop with my mom. People passed by like I was invisible. Some gave me $1 or $2. Most just looked away. One day, I saw a girl who looked just like me back in high school, clean uniform, fresh face, books clutched to her chest. She was laughing on the phone, probably with her mom. I watched her until she disappeared into the crowd. And I cried. Not because I was jealous, but because I realized I had become the kind of person my younger self would have crossed the street to avoid. I spent nights remembering everything. How my mom would sing while she cooked. How my dad would sit at the piano and play hymns on Sunday evenings. How we used to pray holding hands, 3 of us forming a circle of love and faith. I traded that for smoke, alcohol, and friends who vanished when the fun ended. One night, I woke up in an alley to the sound of sirens. A man was overdosing next to me. His lips were blue. His body was twitching. I just sat there and watched. Not because I didn't care, but because I had no strength left. I was dying. Slowly. Quietly. Then, something strange happened. A woman saw me sitting on a curb outside a grocery store. She didn't walk past. She knelt beside me. She looked me in the eyes and said, "What's your name?" I wanted to lie. I wanted to say anything else. But somehow, the truth came out. "Cleopatra," I whispered. She gasped. "Heritage?" I looked up. Yes. She stared at me, and her eyes filled with tears. "I used to know your mom. We went to the same prayer group." I broke down. Right there on the sidewalk. I told her everything. The drugs. The parties. The night my mother died. The letter I wrote. The silence from my father. All of it. She took my hand. "Come with me," she said. Her name was Sister Helen. She wasn't rich. She didn't live in a mansion. But she had a heart as big as the sky. She gave me food, clothes, a warm bed. She prayed for me, cried with me, and reminded me of something I had forgotten, grace. That little piece of paper in my pocket, the prayer I wrote in the dark, was still there. Faded, wrinkled, but whole. I started attending her church. Slowly, painfully, I began to heal. But healing isn't forgetting. Some wounds leave scars that never go away. I still miss my mother every day. Her face lives in my dreams. Her voice echoes in my memory. Sometimes I wake up crying, wishing I could go back, just once, to say, "I'm sorry. I love you. Thank you for never giving up on me." As for my father, he never reached out. I don't blame him. I took something from him that can never be replaced. Maybe one day, he'll find it in his heart to forgive me. Until then, I live with the ache of what I lost. Now, I volunteer at that same church. I tell my story to teenagers who think the street is more exciting than their homes. I sit in classrooms, youth meetings, and shelters, looking young people in the eye and saying, "I had everything. A loving home. Faith. Money. A future. I threw it all away chasing people who didn't love me. Pleasures that didn't last, and a lifestyle that nearly killed me. Learn from me. Please. Don't make the same mistake. I tell them. One wrong friend can destroy your destiny. One bad decision can cost you your whole future. And sometimes, when you hurt the people who love you most, you don't get a second chance to say you're sorry. I never got that chance with my mom. But maybe, by telling my story, I can help another daughter or son hold on to theirs. So if you're reading this, and you're standing at a crossroads, listen to me. Turn back now. Drop the weed, the bottle, the lies. Run back to your family. Run back to faith. Run back to love while it's still there. Because one day, if you're not careful, all you'll have left are ashes and regret. I hope you learned something new today. Subscribe and hit on notifications. Ensure to stop by on my next story.